Hey guys, welcome to my channel. And in this video, we are going to talk about something very interesting. Some interesting developments are taking place in the geopolitics. Now, for those who follow me closely, for those who watch my videos but don't subscribe, okay, please do go watch the videos. If you watch the video, you like it, you see the value in it, please do subscribe. Okay, if you don't see value, I'm not asking you to subscribe. Okay, but subscribe if you see the value, and I can assure you that you will definitely see the value. Okay, now I made a video a couple of days ago, not actually days ago, yeah, last week actually. I made a video last week that was titled it was titled in India, how India is going to bypass the dollar system, the ways India is going to bypass the dollar system in BRICS 2026, whatever India is doing to bypass the dollar system. Okay, and in that video, I talked about, and I've been talking about not just this video, actually, I have been talking about what I'm going to say. I've been talking about this thing for past 2 years straight up about the digital currencies, CBDCs, stable coins, and how BRICS will eventually work on linking their CBDCs for cross-border payment. And sure enough, I made the video, and sure enough, today, actually, the news is out that India's Reserve Bank of India is making a recommendation for BRICS 2026 for the government of India that they should add the CBDC linking as an agenda into their BRICS 2026. Even though BRICS 2026 doesn't directly say that, yeah, let's link the CBDCs together, but when you start to really dig deep into the agenda, then you find that everything points to that thing, whether it was through BRICS Pay, whether it was through MBridge, or whether it was through Unit. You might have heard lots and lots of options that were available. That, okay, BRICS is going to adopt a blockchain based system, BRICS is going to adopt this, BRICS is going to adopt that, and this and that, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, if you look very closely, you find that all the BRICS countries, not one or two, all the BRICS countries are working on their CBDCs, and their CBDC, that is central bank digital currencies, it's in pilot state. Okay, for everyone, for China, for Russia, for India, for Iran, for UAE, and then African countries, Naira, for example, Nigeria's currency, they're all using CBDCs. Okay, and only thing that's left to do is make it official and make it workable and link all those systems. One of those were one of the problems, okay, challenges. Now, so now the news is that, let me actually take you to the news. Okay, first of all, so the news is this, that RBI proposes linking BRICS digital currencies. Here's why it would this. Okay, now this is the news. I'm just gonna go read this out loud real quick, okay, and then we will go more into all these things. So first of all, this news was published in Reuters. Now, one thing I'm going to say this, that unless, now this is just a disclaimer from my side, okay, because I prefer authenticity of my work and my channel. All right, I don't make videos for clickbaits and this and that. All right, just for the authenticity sake, here's what I'm gonna give you, that Reuters published it. Okay, you can go look it up. I'm not making any of this up. First thing. Second thing is that Reuters published it, and Reuters, as usual, said that sources said this. Okay, sources said this, but the reality of it is that this whole idea is not new. Okay, this thing comes from Brazil's 2025 summit, where Brazil clearly said, let me show you actually right here. You see this thing? This is from BRICS Brazil website, that make payment systems across member countries interoperable. Okay, so this is nothing new. This is something that That's where it came from. Now the whole story is this. The story is that RBI's governor was, whatever statement he made, those statements were basing the Brazil's statement, or the declaration made in BRICS Brazil in 2025. Okay, so let's read this out and then we'll go from there. Okay, now the RBI has proposed linking the official digital currencies of BRICS countries to facilitate cross-border trade and tourism payments. Now they're very specific about it. If you notice, cross-border trade and tourism payments. Okay, because there is a thing called BRICS tourism too. So when you go look at the BRICS website, you find that there is a BRICS tourism. So BRICS is looking into these type of areas to cooperate. Now when they want to cooperate, then payments and settlements and all that will be involved. Okay, the two sources said, as cited by the Reuters, the move could help reduce reliance on US dollar as geopolitical tension continue to rise. The proposal builds on a declaration. Now, see, once again, see, proposal builds on a declaration made at 2025 BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro, which called for greater interoperability among member countries' payment systems to improve the efficiency of cross-border transactions, which is true. Okay, then India's digital currency, the e-rupee, has drawn 7 million retail users since its launch in 2022. While China has said it plans to expand international use of the digital yuan, the Reserve Bank of India has recommended that a proposal to link central bank digital currencies be placed on the agenda of 2026 summit, sources said. Okay, one source told Reuters that that reluctance among member countries to adopt technological platforms developed by others could slow progress on the proposal, adding that any concrete advances would require consensus on both technology and regulation. Which is, see, RBI person, a source, so-called Reuters source. We all know how much reliable the Reuters sources are. Um, if this type of thing will be implemented, I want you to know this, that if this type of thing is being implemented and RBI's governor is saying these things openly like this, okay, if they are saying it openly, then I can assure you that these decisions have already been made. Why? The first thing is that RBI's governor in India, okay, for those who don't know, okay, RBI's governor in India is he's not some, it's not a roadside punk, okay? That's a very top level position. All right, you have to understand this. That's a top level position. It's so much so top that India's prime minister even does not directly mess with the RBI governor. All right. Now they can don't make no mistake, they can, but they understand the importance of that position, so that's why they don't interfere with their work. Okay, now if RBI's governor or somebody from RBI is openly saying this thing in public like this, then clearly some decisions have been made somewhere. All right, so there is something to it. There is no smoke without fire. All right, now I don't know what Reuters is saying, but I can confirm you that the whole thing was headed in that direction from the get go. Now, some of you will be like, how can I say that this whole thing was headed in that direction from the get go? See, in 2022, this is not something new. Okay, in 2022, India started its digital currency pilot project. In 2020, US was asked to do the same thing from the World Economic Forum and all other bodies, whatever that is. Okay, then Russians are already working on it. Chinese are working on it. Chinese are using their yuan for cross-border payments. But what happened in US is that United States public, the general people, they simply declined it. Why? Because they don't want CBDCs. They don't want government. There is a centralized control of their money. All right. because of lots of other problems. Why? Because the see in the American systems, lots of these American systems are, they look that they are independent of the political influence, but actually most of the political system in America is run by the corporate. All right, so if you say something, if you make some statement, some remark or something, then chances are that these banks may end up debanking you. Okay, so because of all that fear, CBDCs were rejected. But the real story of CBDC rejection behind the scene was the fear that if CBDCs are accepted by the United States, and considering that United States being leader in lots of things, at least in the past, I don't know about the situation right now. It looks like that they're not. But if everyone adopts CBDCs, then what's going to happen is that dollar's value internationally will decline, and chances are that dollar may lose its uh, reserve currency status. So some of you may ask this question as to, so what CBDCs, how CBDC is going to reduce the dollar's influence? It's very simple, that when you are in a digital platform, okay, if you are in a digital platform and your payment systems are CBDCs, then what's going to happen is that digitally linking all these payment systems is not that hard. Okay, and linking systems, meaning that what are these payment systems? Payment systems are nothing but a mechanism to process the message. What does that mean? Okay, I can explain to you real quick. Okay, give me 2 minutes and I will explain this whole thing to you real quick. Okay, so payment system, what payment system is? Payment systems will be basically bunch of servers. Okay, servers running some messaging platform. Okay, messaging platform, whatever that is. What's going to happen? A message comes from a some device, send your point of sale device, POS device, point of sale device. Message comes, message says that that $2, for example, or 2 rupees, it goes, this message goes here, and then this system, it will be this system's responsibility, or this, let's say there is another remote POC, okay, or bank or some other body, okay, bank or some other body that subscribes to this system. Okay, so what they're gonna do is that let's say $2 comes, so this thing is gonna get that $2 message immediately, and they're gonna go, and this system, let's say this system is sitting in China, so what they're gonna do is that they're gonna send it to the bank that is basically that is partnered to this messaging system, and this system, for what? For settlement. That's how it works. Now how do I know? Because that's my specialty. Okay, so this is in nutshell, I explained you. There is a lot goes behind it, but that's how it is. So linking at this CBDC platform or any payment system is not that much of a big deal. Now, so when you go back to CBDC, and why was the fear? Fear is that now if everyone will start to use CBDC, so what's going to happen is that all these countries, okay, that are already sanctioned, or countries that are dealing with tariffs and all that, what they're going to do is that they will link their payment systems. And then once the payment systems are linked, for them to figure out the settlement part, it's not very hard. Once sooner or later they figure all that out. So what will that do? What it will do is that countries will have a rock solid alternative to work without the dollar. That's the whole idea. Okay, so this is why US government never implemented CBDCs. They're talking about decentralized systems like Bitcoin and stablecoin, all those things they're talking about, but they just don't have the guts to really adopt CBDCs because of the outcome of it. Now let's move further. Okay, so let's move more into it. Both sources said one option being explored to address potential trade imbalances is the use of bilateral foreign exchange swap arrangements between central banks. Now, so the biggest concern with this whole CBDC was, or trading in national currency, is the balance of trade. Like for example, India has a huge trade imbalance with China, but they are working on it. So now India's trade with China has grown by $10 billion, by $10 billion. Okay, so it is close to like 20 or some $billion now. Otherwise, before that, it was very less. Same thing with Russia too. So now Russia is saying that yeah, let's do that, and Russians are also working to fix that balance of trade. And so now, see, this whole balance of trade, what it does is that it creates a problem, right? That if one country's currency is going to sit in other currency, other country, this, that, what do you do? How do you use that? So they are saying that foreign exchange swap arrangements, basically the swap arrangement, meaning that you approximate the trade, the total trade and trade volume, and how much it is going to cost. What do you do is that you do a currency swap, and you keep that much currency within your banks, so that whenever you have to make the payment, you just make that much payment and you are done. You don't have to keep any extra currency. Now, the RBI has publicly said it is exploring ways to connect India's digital rupee with other nations' CBDCs to speed up cross border payments and expand the currency's global use, while stressing the effort is not intended to promote de dollarization. Now, now you have to understand this: the cross border payments, the every trade in national currency has one problem. I mean, besides other problems, that the payment is pretty slow. Okay, so the problem is that payment is slow, and whenever, let's say, a trader goes for trading, and so they used to get, at least in Russia and China, India and Russia case, they used to get their money like a month late or something. And in business and all, it creates lots of problems. Why? Because whatever accounting you have to do, that will be done a month later, right? Now, when you are delaying things, then there are chances that there will be accounting error. Then you have problem. Then, and most important thing is that if you're getting your money late, then it actually you have to put a hold on all the future investments accordingly, right? We are not talking about $1 or $2 thing. We are talking about millions of dollars of deals here, right? So, so because of that, this CBDC was needed, so that payment is made right away, and at least instead of 1 month, now with settlement and the foreign exchange swap arrangements and all that, they will be able to do all these payments in a day or two. And that's the whole idea is here. All right. Now, so then few other things are there, right? So now digital currency linking, I explained you digital currency linking. Now, question is that why India wants it now? See, India wants it now because this was going to happen. This has been long due. It's not just India. Okay. Fortunately or unfortunately, India happens to be the BRICS host. Now, there's one other interesting thing I will tell you. The interesting thing is that before India's BRICS summit, China already committed to support India's BRICS agenda. China already committed to that before even India took the chairship, like a year in advance. Okay. And India already made that commitment year in advance, year and a half in advance in case of China, because China will host in 2027. That India will support China's agenda. What does that really mean? It simply means that the contentious issues that India and China had, they probably discussed those issues, and the red lines will not be added into the BRICS agenda. That's the bottom line, meaning that they discussed what they're going to put into as a BRICS agenda in their BRICS summits. Which means that if CBDC linking is being talked about, then clearly China is saying that, yeah, we are okay, let's do that already. And Russians and everybody else is okay with it too. So these things have already been decided. Now, so why India is doing this? See, at first, India's goal was this. Okay, I'll tell you. after the Russia-Ukraine war started in 2023, around that time frame, India was like, okay, we will ride this out. War will end sooner or later, and then we will work with the Americans, and we will make sure that we ride with the dollar. Okay, that was the whole idea. This is why, as soon as President Trump won the election, PM Modi actually he was in US in February to meet with with President Trump to discuss the business and all that. The whole talk was that they're going to take the trade to $500 billion. But everybody knows what happened. Okay, so let alone $500 billion, India is now moving away from US from all the deals and all that, especially when it comes to the goods. I'm not talking about the services trade, but I'm talking about the goods trade. Okay, so instead of $500 billion, the trade will go downhill regardless. So instead of $130 billion, that trade is going to go downhill and is gonna come under $100 billion. Okay, so forget about that. And now because that happened, so now India doesn't have to worry about, or India doesn't have to think about, trying to carry the dollar on its back for next 5-6 years or this and that. That's not gonna happen. All right. Now, other thing that's happening is that all the US companies that are in India right now, what they're doing is that they are changing their payment systems within their mechanisms to UPI to accept India's payment systems and settlement platforms. All right, they are partnering with all these. So in fact, like for example, Amazon, then you have Google and all other platforms that are there. This is the very close thing I'm telling you. Okay, you have to understand this. This is very important. That Amazon, Google, then your there are other companies like Apple. All these companies, they are already they're already partnering in India's CBDC, meaning that when India launches it, then all these companies are going to support it full-fledged, meaning that they're going to add all that into their platform. They are partnering, and they're actually part of the pilot too. They are part of this pilot. So anyone who thinks that this is not going to happen or why India is doing it, this is what it is. They first tried to adjust their policy according to the Americans, because let's face this thing, okay, that as far as technology is concerned, there was a time, I don't know right now, but I think that right now it is pretty dull moment. There are a whole bunch of dumb people who are sitting there in the US government now and all over. But because they started to support the mediocrity, but US still had that edge as far as technology is concerned. Okay, there are so India always wanted to leverage that. So that's why they were like, okay, let's work with US and see what happens and this and that. But now, after tariff war and all the drama that happened, they figure they are foreseeing all that danger that's coming. Okay, danger of what? Danger of getting sanctioned, danger of trade war, unnecessary trade war that's not even needed. So they're like, okay, let's figure out and let's become self-reliant to minimize the damage. Now imagine the 150% tariff if India had a $500 billion trade with the US. Now imagine 150% tariff applied on India. What do you think would happen, right? This is why. So they saw all these things, so now they're going to move forward. So that's one of the many reasons. And there was another thing, actually. Another thing was that lots of countries are using stable coins. So what stable coin does is, the stable coin is basically a blockchain based tokenization mechanism that actually uses the tokenized assets to as a currency. Okay, and meaning that it is tokenized, so you can actually tokenize the whole entire country if you want to. All right, but it's not secure, and Reserve Bank of India's leadership, they did not they don't see much value in the stable coin, even though in fact I have said this thing in the past, that that BRICS will either go with CBDCs or they will simply go with the stable coins. But the way I'm looking at it is that they may actually use stable coins backed by the CBDCs too. That's another possibility. But RBI is saying that stable coin is not going to work for them. So that's why uh, they are going to stick with CBDCs, and that's the case with pretty much with China too, and the case is with Russia too. Now, and this is why if you notice that yeah, Russians promote some of the Bitcoin, crypto, and all same thing. China does too. India also has that thing, but as far as government is concerned, these governments they don't allow that. They're not in favor of it. Because I'll give you another example. Another example being that China and Russia actually have traded oil and payment in Bitcoin as well. They have even tried that. But it never went too far. Okay. And they just tried it and I think they didn't like it. So that's why they never moved forward with it. Okay. Now, so, what are the geopolitical repercussions of it? Geopolitical repercussions will be this. I'll show you repercussions right away. Okay, geopolitical repercussions are this right here. Now, some of you will be like, "Who is this guy?" and "Who is this guy?" So, this guy here is RBI's governor Sanjay Malhotra, and this guy is U.S. ambassador to India, Sergey Gore. Okay. So right after the announcement, very much enjoyed meeting RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra. We discussed areas of increased cooperation, including new state-of-the-art US technology. What state-of-the-art US technology you're talking about? What state of the art? You are not even using CBDC. Your payment systems are all outdated. What state of the art technology you're talking about? So state of the art technology, they were not, he's not talking about increased cooperation. Increased cooperation meaning that, hey, can you postpone this whole CBDC thing? Can you please not push for it to be added as a BRICS agenda? What he doesn't realize is that it is your doing. It is your doing. You cannot host everyone hostage to your uh, nonsense, maybe, right? So, and you cannot just put somebody in jail and then say, hey, no, please, can you please stay in the jail? Can you please stay inside? No, please. It doesn't work like that in real world. And that's exactly what's happening. Okay. So he meets the RBI governor. RBI governor, that's the repercussion of it, that he's meeting in to discuss that, hey, are you really going to propose this, that? If that is the case, what's the timeline? Because they want to get the internal details. Now, they also know, America also knows at this point, US also knows that that ship has sailed, a ship of making threats has already sailed. So what you're going to do? You already had 50%, 100%, all those tariffs you already applied. Now, if you try anything else beyond this point, rupture will be irreparable. You cannot repair that thing. And lots of American companies, actually their entire business relies on Indian market. So if they think that they're gonna apply sanctions or something and walk away with it, believe me, the YouTube that we are using, that YouTube will shut down overnight, because just because of the number of users. Anyways, that was the repercussion, that they're finding it very scary at this point, and this is coming and it's gonna happen. See, this is the inevitability that is not going to change. All right, it's gonna happen because world is entering a new world order, and the new world order will be the digital payments and digital settlements. All right, forget about that hard currency. World is working very seriously towards handling this whole um, the terrorism, money laundering, the illegal trade. Lots of bad things happen because of the hard currency. All right, so so now the world is very seriously taking it, and it creates a rupture, or it disrupts the whole entire supply chain, and it hurts the global economy overall. Now, for example, I'll give a simple example, right? Just before I close, okay? The COVID. Look what happened in COVID. In COVID, I will tell you, there were people, and I'm not going to talk about which religion or which section of the society or whatever. These people were spitting on that hard currency before making the payment so that the COVID spreads to somebody else. That's a shitty and sadist example I'm giving you, but it happened. It was happening around the world. Now, also because of the hard currency, lots and lots of countries they simply lost lots of business because nobody was there to make the hard currency payment. And because of all these things, the world trade had come to a halt completely because of all this. So uh, now with CBDCs and all, lots of things will be improved, and lots of uh, things will be properly implemented. So yeah, overall, that's just the way it is, and we are entering this thing, okay? And in next 4 to 5 years, by 2030, in fact, I think that by 2035, and 2035 is the line I have timeline that I have always given, simply because, and I'll tell you why. By 2035, what's gonna happen is that world will be dealing with the digital settlements, digital payments completely. Arctic trade route will open. Okay. Arctic trade route is gonna open. Indian Ocean region will become less important and less contentious for two reasons. Number one is that India is growing power over there. And second thing, it will become less important for China because of the Arctic route opens up. So polar Silk Road. Okay. And the Russians are going to dominate the energy market and the raw materials market, and the global south is going to dominate the overall trade simply because of the military age population, because of the commodities, and because of the trade routes. Okay, only problem that now they have to solve is the insurance providers, and insurance provider will also, when they will see the benefit in global south, then chances are, just like Google or Microsoft or any other company, insurance provider will also shift their bases to global south. Okay, and then you will see the whole shadow fleet. Then actually global south will not operate the shadow fleet, it will be the west that will be operating the shadow fleet. Why? Because right now they have their fleets registered to these insurance companies, but after that you will see the term shadow fleet will be gone, and those shadow fleets, whatever that is, then global south is gonna start to play the same game that the global west was playing in the past. Just recently, like lots of Venezuela based oil tankers were seized and all that. So that's a different ball game, that's a different discussion, we'll talk about that some other time. But for now, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, this is it for this video. Please do like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in another video. Take care.